and good day. In this episode, we are going to speak to something that is likely on all leaders' mind at this point in the year, and that is, what are we doing as we wrap up one year and plan forward into starting off our next year? So we want to be able to share some thoughts around what that could look like, different examples that we've seen when you're planning for that fall re-engagement. So let's take a moment and think about, because we've both been there as leaders, what this time of year kind of feels like.
Yes. So I came across this picture at one point in time where there's a guy who has two kayaks and he's standing straddled, one foot in one kayak and one foot in the other kayak. And I think that's a really good representation of what happens to leaders at this point in the year in education. And of course, that is about all of the things that we need to do to be able to wrap up the current year that we're in. And there are a lot of things that need to be done. And also thinking about what do we need to plan now in order to be ready and successful at the start of the next year. So that foot in two worlds is a really challenging space to be in.
Absolutely.
But in terms of collaborative response, there are a number of things that are really important. This is such an opportune time at the end of the year to be thinking about those intentional ideas of moving forward within your collaborative response and what that's going to look like for the next year.
Okay, so let's share some of those things. And the first off is, of course, seeing what are some of the celebrations that we can bring forth as we're wrapping up this school year. We do know of a number of schools that have professional learning or wrap-up days where students finish on this particular date, but then staff finish on another. It was always a great time for within our school to be able to, let's take some time to really think about what progress have we made and what can we celebrate? Can we identify the things that we've done this year that have had impact? So let's share out some different ways to do that.
Yeah, so one of the things is to be able to really engage in that reflective practice. And we actually don't do this enough because we're so busy with our day-to-day and the tasks that we have on our never-ending to-do list that we update at the end of every day. And just really thinking, okay, let's pause. Let's pause long enough to really think about what are our celebrations and actually engage your staff in this reflective activity.
And
so
we have an organizer that we've attached
we
for
do, yeah. So really thinking about what have been the celebrations throughout the year. And in terms of collaborative response. And then what are your challenges that you are still facing? And of course, that's going to give us an indication about what are the things that we need to target as we move into the next year. And another one that we've included in that organizer is favorite failures.
Okay, let's talk about that then. Because really, that is reinforcing that culture of ready, fire, aim, that we're going to do things that were not successful, but let's take some time to reflect on why. Why did that not go well? What have we learned through that?
And that's the most important part of that.
I had heard in a recent podcast where someone had said, experience is not the best teacher. It's reflecting on experience, is the best teacher. And being able to say as an organization that we've made mistakes, we are going to make mistakes, but what do we learn from it? So I think that's a really important inclusion to be able to think about what were those missteps and what did we learn from that as an organization?
Yeah, and really promoting that culture of we're going to try things, we're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. We learn so much from the mistakes that we make or the failures that we have along the way as well.
Absolutely. So then we also want to be able to then access some of our data that we have. So when we think about collaborative response in our layers of teams, we want the collaborative team, or sorry, the collaborative planning efforts that we're having, maybe taking goals that we've established and reflecting on what progress did we make? What data do we have? Do we have evidence of impact in regards to the things that we were trying to move the needle on this year.
And in regards to the collaborative planning, that might even be taking time for each of your teams to share with the staff their learnings and what they anticipate will be their area of focus for the next year, looking at their data.
Well, and then I think being able to use that data to look at some overall things we've done, but we really like to be able to highlight, are there any specific student successes that we could indicate? And we've talked before in a number of different blogs, podcasts, these insider videos about the value of color coding your data. But I remember one year where we had put up pictures of students who had gone from yellow when they entered the particular grade level that they're at, who are now green. And that was a huge celebration to see a whole bunch of kids' pictures up on the screen. But then we went, let's look at the ones who were red and they moved to green, or who were yellow and they moved to blue, which is exceeding expectations, who've moved 2 color levels. And I think at that time there was probably a dozen student photos that went up, but those were powerful when people saw pictures. And I can remember there was a couple tears in the room when they see the picture of this one student and going, oh my goodness, can you remember where where they were at and what we've done to help build up that success for them, which is, again, really powerful of building that collective efficacy of we can see the impact we're making and we know what we did that led to it.
Well, and looking at your data is one thing, but numbers, and they do show us what's happening, but
we'll be right back to continue this episode.
In the spring, we often find ourselves stretched between 2 worlds, with one foot in the year wrapping up and the other foot in the year to come. This messy middle presents many challenges, but also provides opportunities to learn from the past and plan for the future. Join us for the online workshop, Planning for Fall Startup, Re-engaging Collaborative Response, part of our Supporting Collaborative Response series. In this on-demand workshop, I will share 5 ways to reflect on learnings from the current school year and 5 considerations for planning for the new year. I'll also be sharing numerous resources, templates, and samples that will support you in your learning. Access this on-demand workshop and you'll have the ability to view, replay any or all of the workshop when it best fits your time. Register today to learn more about how the Fall Startup can be an excellent opportunity to re-energize your school's collaborative response efforts.
And now back to our conversation.
Well, and looking at your data is one thing, but numbers, and they do show us what's happening, but actually seeing faces has such I think it has great impact on your heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
And brings up a whole other realm of feelings about success and telling that story of how things have gone in your school. Another thing to consider as you are wrapping up your current school year and thinking about your collaborative team meetings specifically is being able to gather some feedback from your teams about your collaborative team meetings explicitly, again, knowing that that's a very unique structure to collaborative response, but being able to actually gather feedback and then use that to be able to inform some of the decisions that you're making in terms of setting up for next year.
Okay, so let's go there then. We've included in the resources a couple of reflection tools that you can utilize, but one that's been really valuable that we've been using in multiple leadership team days on our last leadership team. So for those not familiar, in multiple divisions, we set up a series of typically 4 leadership days where leaders come together to reflect on what have you done. We do some learning and then we determine next steps before we come back again, typically 6 to 8 weeks later. In these final ones in May and June, we've been utilizing a planning for the fall organizer that just has some reflection questions on it, like, will we need to review our norms? And if so, how will we do that? How will we structure teams as we move into the next year? When will we schedule our different screeners that we plan to utilize to gather evidence? Just some of those basic foundational elements that we know we want to be putting some forethought into, so that we can come in prepared to re-engage and take some next steps on our collaborative response work. Because we know, and we've said often, you're never done. There's always a next step. There's always a tweak to thinking about how do we set up our school or our system for success in how we collaboratively respond to the needs of our students.
Yeah, and in addition to that, then, really being intentional about what do we know about what we've done so far, and then how does that inform us making the changes, or how do we implement things for the next year? Being able to look at all of that detail. But on a bigger scale, it's also important, and because this is an opportunity for you to be able to look at your school plan, whether you call it a 3-year plan or school improvement process, whatever.
School development plan.
Being able to clearly make alignment and articulate the alignment of what you're doing currently in your school year, moving forward into your next year, and how it's going to impact that school improvement plan.
Well, how our collaborative response efforts will have direct alignment to those priorities that we establish in those
This
plans.
time of year is a great time to be able to speak explicitly about how your structures and processes are actually impacting. They are the thing that operationalizes your school improvement plan.
Absolutely.
And of course, another piece that we need to be considerate of at this point in the year is transitioning. And whether that's transitioning staff into new roles, new positions, new grade levels, whatever it might be, or it's about students transitioning. So how do we take the information that we have currently, either about staff or students, and how do we use that and intentionally design structures that are going to support people moving into new grade levels, new positions, or
an
new
incoming
school.
Or an incoming group of students. What would be valuable for me to know and understand as I prepare to engage in a new year of learning?
Well, and really that transition process, being really thoughtful about it, is just about setting up everyone for success for the next year.
So, as always, we'd love if you have questions to send them our way. If you have different strategies or ways that you are wrapping up one year or planning forward, or some effective transition strategies that you've utilized, please, we'd love to hear those and to be able to share those out. So we wish you all the best during this very busy time of year, and look to connect again soon.
See you soon.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. Explore more podcasts at www.teachbetterpodcastnetwork.com. We'll see you on the next episode.